gets open for three. Dagger!
Hello and welcome back to Well Beyond the Arc. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Once again, we are ready to talk NBA basketball with you guys as and hold on, I have a little echo. Joined as always by my co-host David. David, how you doing, bro? It's been a second since we've talked. Not quite as long as before, but it's still been a little bit. How you been doing, bro?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. Just vibing, chilling. Enjoying the NBA. It's been fun. The last few days have been fun watching the NBA.
Especially when we beat the Warriors. Anyways,
Yeah.
had to throw
Definitely,
that in there.
definitely. Uh-huh. But yeah, I've been good. I've been good. How are you? How are you?
I've been doing pretty good, man. Just busy with work. I've been seeing a lot of my friends posting snaps and whatever else of the weather that they've been dealing with. Some cold, man. I feel it, bro. It's in like 75 out here where I'm at right now. So I feel your guys' pain. It's a little chillier out here too. A little bit of wind right now, but I'm doing pretty good, man. Just enjoying the sun and enjoying the NBA basketball season. Unfortunately, as Lakers fans, we're really up and down because, yeah, we beat the Warriors, but then we dropped a game to the Rockets, and that was – don't even want to talk about that one. But luckily, we
Yeah.
are going to get right into something else. We don't have to talk about that. We are getting into the good, bad, and ugly. As you guys know, every single week we get this show started talking about something that was good, something that was bad, and something that was ugly. We could do a whole show of good, bad, and ugly every single week, but we narrow it down to one each week. So, David, what is your good for this week's show?
My good is scoring the NBA. It's just been really the offense are just like I mean people try to play defense, but like the scoring has just been so good. And I don't want to blame it on the defense. I say the defense, people try to play defense, but the talent is just too good. We start with Joel 70. I know we talked about it. Joel scoring 70, and then Booker scoring 46, then Lucas scoring 73, then Booker scoring 62 again, then Curry against the Lakers 46, and then Luca again against the Magic 45.
Oh, looks like we might have lost him for a second. But as he was saying, talking about the scoring in the NBA, it's going crazy right now. I know my good was also Luca going off against Atlanta and scoring 73. And then a few days later, combining with Tim Hardaway Jr. to score 80 plus. I mean, those two are balling together. That team is balling together. Hello, David. Just picking up right back up where you left off, bro. Keep going right where you were. Just talking about how Luca went off, and also Tim Hardaway Jr. and Luca also went off just last night. So keep on going where you were at, bro.
Yeah, as I was saying, just the offense has just been really good. Um, Again, the defense, people are playing defense, but like the talent is just too good in the NBA right now. The talent pool in the NBA is a lot. Like people can score through one, two, three, every type of way. Everyone is scoring. So for me, that's my good this week. I just have to acknowledge that and enjoy what we're seeing right now.
Absolutely. And hey, when you cut off, bro, my good is the same exact was your good as well. So it was easy. I just picked up where you left off. Like I said, I mean, the scoring has been insane. And shout out to the Mavs. I mean, we're going to talk about them a little bit tonight. I know we have some Mavs fans in the chat that are checking in. So don't worry. We are going to talk a little Mavs basketball a little later on, or at least I have them in one of our segments. But shout out to Luca, who is going off. We have Embiid, Booker, they're going off, but Luca is going off, and he's doing it consistently. This very well could be our MVP. I'm just going to leave that right there. Moving over to our bad. What is your bad for this show?
Uh, Lakers dropped into the Rockets yesterday. I think that was just really bad. I kind of saw it coming, but then you're watching it and you're like, and then you have this freaking guy acting all I can play basketball, Dylan Brooks. Kind of got under my skin a bit. And I only watched like the fourth quarter of the game. So, but just watch him kind of every time I see him, like I want to root for this guy, but then he's just not it. Like, I'm sorry. He's like, he tries to be it, but it's not just it. I don't even know. I'm
No,
sorry. So,
no, that's fair. I think that's a good.
overall,
I think that's a good assumption. I mean, that's just where we're at with that for sure. And honestly, my bad is Embiid, and I know we've been talking him up pretty good lately, but he has 5 games until he's eliminated from the MVP. And this dude just put up points, and not only did he score 70, he had 18. This dude is having an unreal season, averaging, last I checked, I think 35 to 36 points. I mean, he is doing it all, but he is in danger of missing the MVP talk completely because he has only 5 games until he's out because of that rule, which I do like the rule. I do like the fact that you have to play through the season and be consistent, because that's going to encourage players to be more consistent and play more games and sit less. But Embiid has started missing a couple I think he missed 2 in a row, or he missed one and then he played one and then he missed another one. I know he didn't play last night, but not a consistent Embiid could be a huge problem for the 76ers as a whole, because when
You
he
know,
is not in, they are not the same team. So that is also a problem. So that's my bad, is
you
Embiid
know,
missing games.
yeah, you know what? He hasn't played in Echo. When they played Denver, because I think they played Denver like 3 nights ago. When they
Mhm.
played Denver, he didn't play. He hasn't played in Denver, I think, if I remember correctly, 2019 or 20, one of them years. But I don't, you know what? I don't actually have a problem with him not playing, as long as when we come postseason time, he actually comes up.
That's
Like
fair.
if
Ooh,
he comes
that's
up big
fair.
time, if he takes all this time, he's resting, taking
Mhm.
his stuff into, rehabilitate, all this kind of stuff, that's fine, as long as he comes in, you know, postseason, and he drops these numbers and takes the Sixers where they need to go. Well, good. But if he doesn't, and he ends up winning the MVP, I'll just be like, okay. So
Well, that's the thing, because we have seen him go off in the regular season and then kind of not disappear in the postseason, but not have that success. So we would much rather see him have a game like he has had with, is he going to drop 70? Maybe not, but we'd love to see him have like a 40-20 game in the playoffs and go off. And so I agree with you, bro. I think that looking at it from the standpoint as an NBA fan who wants to see that dude go off and actually show up, I'd love to see that. So for the 76ers, if they can stay afloat without him, maybe long term it's actually better if he misses the time now and isn't as consistent now. They need him consistent for the playoffs. So I couldn't agree more, bro. But now we're getting into the worst of the worst for this week, bro. What is your ugly for this show?
I actually don't know, to be honest.
That's
I'm
okay.
trying. I've been thinking. I'm like, I've looked at the NBA so far. Nothing really ugly has really happened. I mean, the Magic. I think the Magic are pretty much lost. The Sixers lost yesterday too. Was pretty nasty. They lost. I can't remember who they lost to. Um.
Oh,
So far,
they lost to the Trailblazers. There was a blowout.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
That would
Trailblazers.
be the that would
Yeah,
that
that
was
that was
pretty
that was
ugly.
pretty ugly. Yeah. Um. But I can. I mean, other than that, nothing too much. Nothing too much really has happened that I would say, oh my god, this is ugly. Like you don't
No, I
even,
totally.
yeah.
For honestly, when I was putting my list together, that's where I was at too. But anyone watching live, not live, that's a Heat fan, spoiler alert for the end of the show. We're talking Heat, but I gotta drop it now. My ugly has to be the Heat on a 7-game losing streak, because the Miami Heat, like, this is a team that was just in the NBA Finals. Not just this year, but also in the bubble. They have been in the NBA Finals, or at least in the Eastern Conference Finals the last couple of seasons. They've been one of those teams, and they're not looking like that team right now. So the Heat on a 7-game losing streak, we are going to talk about them a little later in the show, but that's got to be my ugly, because they just do not look like that Miami Heat team that we've seen. No one is a Heat fan, not even Pat. Yeah, well, you know what? That's fair. That's a fair statement. Maybe the Heat fans are starting to dwindle a little bit, but I don't know. I know a couple of Heat fans that are still believing in their squad and think that they can go all the way, but they don't look like that right now.
Yeah, I was looking at it and I was like, this is the same Heat that pretty much went on a how many game win streak when the season first started. They were literally third in the East for a minute. Um, or fourth, between fourth and third, one of them, and now they're just kind of,
They're just there.
yeah.
They're just like seventh or eighth, just like right there, just barely still in. So it's not a good look for that Heat. And the Heat, like Heat, that's a team. That's a team that has a really deep history and a deep culture, and they just They don't show that right now. So hopefully they can get back on track. I mean, I'm not a Heat fan, but I definitely it's not my least favorite team. So it is a fun team to watch in the playoffs. So maybe they'll get it back on track. But we'll talk more Heat later. Moving on, we are actually going to talk about the hiring of Doc Rivers because yes, last episode, someone I don't even remember who it was. I wish I did off the top of my head so I could give them credit. Someone in the chat called it out, said Doc Rivers to the Bucks. And that happened. That's what we're looking at now. Now Doc Rivers had his coaching debut against the Nuggets. I believe it was against the Nuggets, and it was a loss. Now that is a tough game to start on as a head coach of a new team against the defending NBA champs. But Doc Rivers came in, Bucks dropped that game. But my question to you is this. We kind of talked about it last episode. I think I even said it's going to be my bad if he gets hired, but it wasn't my bad. There were worse things than that this week, I will say. But my question to you is this. This hiring, like, is this going to be the difference maker for the Bucks? Because yes, they're second in the East, but they're not the greatest team in certain areas, and we've seen them literally just come off of a postseason exit in the first round. We saw them come off of a first round exit. So will this hiring be enough to take them all the way? Where do you think this Bucks team is going? And I see the Clippers comments. I'm trying to ignore them. I can see them though. Lakers on top still. Don't worry about it. My question to you is how far are they going to go with Doc Rivers this season and overall? Is he the difference maker? I think we already know the answer, but my question is still there. Do you think this could be a big difference for them?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. Like it's one of those things where you know who the Bucks are, and then you know who Doc Rivers is. Individually, you know what they can do. Collectively, I don't know. I mean, he's a great coach, but he has had his 3-1 lead slips and stuff like that. And then Bucks, they are good. I didn't necessarily watch the game against the Nuggets yesterday, and I don't want to say okay. I don't want to judge it based on one game, but like, it's one of those things where you have to give it a bit of time to know okay, is it a good hire or not? Like, look at where the Bucks would be after the All Star break. I think because they're still about maybe about 10, 15 games before the All Star break. All Star break is February something. Um, so about give or take, look at those games between now and the All Star break, and then maybe like 2 weeks after the All Star break, and then we go from there. But right now, I don't know. I want to say it's a good hire because I know individually, but like collectively, to say they can go far, mm, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah,
Doc Rivers is a great regular season NBA coach. He has not had very many poor seasons as a regular season NBA head coach. He has had successful years with the Celtics. He's had successful years with the Clippers. He's had a little bit of success, the least amount of success, but a little bit with the 76ers. So the resume is there regular season wise. Win loss wise, it's there. Playoff wise, yeah, he's a champion, but it's almost been 20 years since he won an NBA championship.
yeah.
Like, and
He's
he's
living off.
been
He's living off that championship.
exact, and it's not like that dude won a championship and then retired and has been a sportscaster since, and now he's coming out like he has been an active coach and has nothing accolade wise to show for that, in my personal opinion, since he won a championship. And the closest he got since was with the Clippers. In my personal, that was the team that had the best shot. And this is what I'm going to say. I do not want to make anybody mad, and this might make someone mad. It can make a number of people mad, which is totally fine. But yes, Dame Lillard is a different guard, and he's in a different spot career wise than James Harden. But Doc Rivers just came from a guard big man duo that did not work. Rondo was the real coach. Well, Rondo has that mind for the game, so that is you're not wrong. Rondo definitely is that guy IQ wise, but I don't see it turn into a championship. I do see them finishing between second and third in the standings for the regular season. Like, of course, they were going to do that with the other head coach. They were going to do that before they fired the last head coach. They were going to finish in the top of the standings. That's my personal. I just think that was what was going to happen. But now what we really need to see is, and again, Doc Rivers very well could come in and turn the defense around a little bit. And actually, that I do think that Doc Rivers has several attributes that could help them out. But will it be enough for the playoffs? I don't think we've seen enough from Doc Rivers in the last 10 years to show that it'll be enough. So I think that they will be a second round exit. That's my personal prediction. I mean, way too early prediction. I think, yes, I think they will not be a first round exit like this time, like last season, but I do think that they will be somewhere in that second round. I think of the playoffs is when they'll get eliminated, because I just think that's who they are as a team. Could they make some moves before the trade deadline? Could they add some depth? Maybe get somebody, some I don't even know who they would get, but some free agent, especially a defensive piece. Yeah, they could do a lot of different things, and maybe Doc Rivers is the coach to like initiate that as well. But because he does know what it takes to win. But I don't think we've seen enough. So I do think that the Bucks will finish second, third, but I don't think they're going to be a championship winning team, at least in year one. Could they figure it out with Doc Rivers as a head coach? Possibly. I'm not sitting here saying they have no shot because he's the coach, but I don't think they're going to win it this season. I don't think that's enough of a thing for them to win it.
Yeah, 100% agree. Yeah. Again, it's all time. Time is the what's the saying? Time is it healer? I don't know what to say. But
Time heals all wounds.
yeah.
But
In this case, time would definitely show what is and what isn't. Um,
yeah,
if time is if time is what is needed for them to win a chip, time is needed for what's needed to get Doc fired again. We'll see. We'll see.
time will tell. I feel
Time will
like
tell.
Doc is going to be I think that the combo of Doc, Dame, and Giannis could win a chip in their time together, but I do not think it'll be this season, and it will take a lot. I think it will take a lot for them to figure it out in the time that it would take for them to all win one together. So I do think that Giannis and Dame could win one, but Doc, I don't know if he will be the coach when they win one. It's been a minute since he's been all the way where they need to get to even be there. So he's just not had enough playoff success as of recent. So that just for me, that is what fans should be looking at above regular season success, because we've seen plenty of regular season success out of him. So I think you
Yeah.
should be looking more beyond that. So who knows? We'll see. Time will
I
tell, but it could happen.
Yeah, I do miss Doc on ESPN. I miss.
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
watching the Lakers Warriors, and I was like, oh, if only Doc was here.
Doc was really good. And
Doc
I
was
do
really.
think that had he would have stayed with that would have been a really successful path. But he'll definitely return there at some point. I would imagine. So, because I will say, like there's certain people you want to hear talking, and certain people you don't want to hear during games and break things down. And he's not the worst. Well, not the worst person for that. So, who knows? Maybe he'll return sooner than we know. But we
Maybe.
are talking OKC. We're talking OKC versus Nuggets. As a matter of fact, let's get into that right now, bro. Moving on, tomorrow, Wednesday, what day would that be? January 31st. The Nuggets are taking on the OKC Thunder, who currently lead the season series 2-1. Last game, OKC absolutely demolished the Nuggets. But my question to you is this: who wins tomorrow's game between those two teams, and which team is going to go farther come postseason?
I think your second question is way easier than your first question. Um. Uh. Yeah. OKC lost to Minnesota last night. Close game. Really good game of basketball. Um. But they just couldn't get over the hump. They're enjoying. Don't get me wrong. They are enjoying their success right now, and they do deserve to enjoy the success they have right now. But to answer your first question, OKC is fraudulent. Let me put it like that. They will they won't make it past the second round of the playoffs. It's that simple. Give me an OKC team and a Lakers team in a playoff scenario, and in a 4 games, in a 7 game, sorry, not 4 game series, best of four, right? I'm taking the Lakers any day because the OKC are too young. They need the experience. So this will be the first time they will be in the playoff. Tomorrow, OKC can probably win, and Yeah, OKC can probably win tomorrow. Okay, boohoo. But playoffs, no. Second round, max. If they surprise me, I'll come on here and say I was wrong. But right now, based on what I know the playoffs to be, second round, max. And that's it. Denver will probably end up going to the um conference finals again. So I'll probably win tomorrow. So let's just leave it like that.
Fair take. I'm gonna say it like this. Nuggets, their full squad is gonna be out tomorrow. And they're coming off of a win over the Bucks. That was, I mean, they balled out. That team showed up. That was the team that won the chip. They have an extremely solid team, all the way from Pope up to Joker. They have an extremely solid team. And when they play the brand of basketball that we saw that beat the Lakers and also beat the, I mean, when they play that brand of basketball, they're extremely hard to beat even this season. I don't think OKC is going to beat them tomorrow. Give me the Nuggets 112 to 106 over the Thunder tomorrow. I don't think it's going to be an extremely high scoring game. I think this Nuggets team is going to handle business. But I'm going to say something that a lot of people aren't going to agree with. One thing, your point about the postseason, I agree with one part. I don't think the Nugget or the OKC Thunder are going past the second round. You remember how the Milwaukee Bucks were a team that everyone thought was going to go the distance last year, and they got eliminated by the Heat in round one. I think that's what's going to happen with the Nuggets this season. I think the Denver Nuggets are a round one exit. Hold me to that right now. I am not changing my
Clip
opinion
it.
for the
Clip
rest.
it.
Keeping it right here. Clip
Clip
it.
it.
Clip it. First round exit, Denver Nuggets out. I do not think you say something we don't agree with every week. Okay, but Lakers beating the Clippers, I think a lot of people can agree with. I'm not gonna lie. I maybe this take people not as much, but Lakers beating the Clippers. Come on, now we're not even gonna go there. We already know who the better team is. 17 championships to how many? I'll hold it up so you can see it better. Yeah. Anyways, about to be 18, but no. But no. I'm gonna say it right now. The Nuggets, I don't think are going to. I think the West is so competitive this season that whoever the Nuggets are facing in round one is going to bump them. I think whoever is one of those lower tier teams is going to come ready to play. So I
They
think
might they
that
might
I
probably
think
play the
that
Lakers. They might probably play the Lakers
exactly.
like
See,
in
exactly.
season stuff. Because Lakers would probably, if worst comes to worst, the Lakers would make the in season, then go from there, and then they'll end up playing the Lakers, and then you know I don't want to say what I want to say right now, so I'll just keep
I
that.
agree. You know what, King Cal, you guys did. You guys beat us. I'm gonna stand here right now and say you guys beat us in our last matchup. I'm not. I mean, yeah, but then we beat the Warriors. Smoke's not here today, or maybe the comments aren't working for Smoke. But either way, I wish Smoke was here because that was the one I was really hoping. Come on, but either way, we beat them. That's all that matters. But no, Nuggets versus OKC. It's going to be a good game. No matter who wins tomorrow, it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a blowout for either team because both teams have pretty much their full squads in. So I think it's going to be a great game. I've got the Nuggets winning, but again, I've got the Thunder going slightly farther than I think this Nuggets team will. But I don't think the Thunder are going to be like a Western Conference Finals team or anything. They're going to be a second round exit, and then maybe they'll be a team that rallies and comes back even stronger next season. But shout out to the Thunder for that quick turnaround. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Here's Smoke. Come on, you got to risk the fine. You got to risk the fine. How are you not gonna? How you have nothing to say after your team got beat by the Lakers? Come on now, the best team in the West. No, I'm just kidding. All right, we're gonna move on quickly from that statement because I definitely don't believe that. Moving on, the All-Star break is coming up, and with that, the All-Star starters have been announced. So we're going to break it down, bro. Before we go into the reserves, because the reserves are announced this Thursday, and we're going to go through any players we really think we need to see. If there's any players we know deserve to be reserves, we'll list those. But before we go into that, are there any players you feel like were snubbed to be an All-Star starter? What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts? Because, bro, this is the one year that I think I agree with literally every person that was picked. There is always someone, one or two people that's a starter that I don't agree with. And this season, I think every single person that got picked as a starter was perfect.
Yeah, 100% agree. I saw the list and I was like, okay, fair. Like they actually, like, yeah, you can make some arguments like e.g., Jalen Brunson maybe should have started, or maybe Steph Curry should have. But the guys in, they also have an argument, even greater than guys in. So 100% I do agree. I'm not going to stress that. 100% agree with that list. Really solid. This is what it is.
I feel like, again, like if a player like Steph Curry or Jalen Brunson was left off the reserves list, that
Mm-hmm.
would be head scratching. But them
Yeah.
being left off of the starter list for who is in, it makes perfect
It
sense.
makes,
It's
yeah.
not, there's no one where it's like this is insane, this is terrible. It makes a lot of sense. Now going into the reserves, I'm gonna go through a couple of players that I hope make the teams because there are a few that are very obvious. Starting right away, I gotta go for my boy Anthony Davis because he has been playing extremely consistent ball. Will he 100% make that? I would say there's a good chance he'll be one of those
Like
reserves, but
80%.
I would say
80%.
especially because this is the healthiest he's been at this time of the year in the last couple of seasons. So I would venture to say he would be robbed if he didn't get a spot because this is the best he's been playing this time of the year in the last couple of years. So I'm gonna go Anthony Davis, Tyrese Maxey. I definitely think Tyrese Maxey might be a kind of a surprise, not a surprise, but I don't know if that's someone that everyone would put up there. But I think Maxey is someone that deserves a spot. Curry obviously deserves a spot. I think Anthony Edwards is a dude you could throw around because he's been
Definitely.
playing
100%.
extremely. What was he? One of the youngest players to get into the 6,000 club. Was that what it was? It was something like that. He's been balling. He's been absolutely going off. And the reason Minnesota is where they are is partly because of him. So those are a couple of players that I think need to be on the reserves list. What about you, bro? What are
Jalen.
some names?
Jalen Brunson has to be there, 100%. Like, I think there was this comment that was made, and he was like, he's he's not number one. He's 1/8, something like that. And then since that comment was made by a analyst on ESPN, and since that comment was made, he has taken it personally, and he's just been going off like carrying New York. I think now they're on a 7 game win streak, something like that. Um, so Jalen Brunson has to be there. Sabonis has to be there. Literally dropped 25 rebound, was it 25 last night? Average tying the franchise record. 100% has to be there. Jalen Brown has to be there. Um I think you can't have an all-star without Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum. I just think both have to be in there. I'm looking. Let's see. Jamal Murray has to. I don't know how he hasn't made an All Star, but he has to be in there. Um, Austin Reeves has to be in there, and I'm just biased. That's just me being biased. Austin Reeves.
You know,
Don't quote me anywhere. Don't claim this. Don't do it. Well, I feel Austin Reeves has to. Austin Reeves definitely has to be there. As you said, all the guys you mentioned, 100% have to be there. Tyrese Maxey going off. I don't think Joel Embiid will be where he is without Tyrese Maxey. Steph Curry, obviously, an All Star isn't an All Star without Steph Curry. I can't remember who else. I won't say De'Aaron Fox.
yeah. Oh, he's up there for sure. He's been having a solid year for. And that's another player that's been putting those numbers up pretty consistently and deserves. He definitely deserves that spot. Brunson has been that. I've saw a comment. Brunson's been that guy for a while. That is very. He has been playing insane for New
Insane.
York, and if he does not get an All Star spot, that would be a run. All of the players we have named would be robbed if they didn't get a spot. And unfortunately, I feel like I don't think all of the ones we named will probably end up getting those spots. So it's going to be who's going to be left out. We're definitely going to have to revisit in a further show and talk about snubs because if there's one thing, someone's going to get snubbed from the reserves. That happens every single year. If it's not someone gets snubbed from the starters and reserves, someone's at least getting snubbed from the reserves. So hopefully it's not Anthony Davis. I bet it's going to be Austin Reeves, bro. I bet it's going to be Austin Reeves, biggest all-star snub ever. That's who it's going to be. That's what the next title of the show is going to be. So just be looking for that. But we'll keep you guys
Austin
updated on any
Reeves
all-star news.
snob.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for real. It's going to be everywhere, bro. It's going to be everywhere. But no, we'll have more all-star stuff. We're going to have a couple of fun top fives with all-stars once it comes a little closer. We'll do a fun top five going over some all-star break action. But for now, we are going to move on and talk about the Miami Heat, who are currently on a 7-game losing streak. as I mentioned earlier, I believe it was my ugly
Mama,
because how could it not be?
mama.
I know, bro. How I mean that's rough, especially because this isn't like it's some rebuild team. I mean, this is not how that's supposed to be. So my question to you is this: with the Miami Heat currently, last I checked, sitting 7th or 8th in the East, but with that 7-game losing streak, do you think they can turn it around, or do you think that playoff Jimmy, do you think that the playoff Jimmy era is coming to an end? Do you think they're looking like rebuild mode, or do you think this is just another Miami Heat fluctuation season?
Um, I mean, first off, Coach Spo is amazing, so I don't think this will last. That's just where I'm going to start with. I don't think this year's kid will last. Every team goes through it, like losing for a period, 2, 3, 4, whatever number of games. All these big teams kind of the except we are Boston and whatever. But to answer your question, is the um Jim Jimmy what do you call it playoff Jimmy is his era over? I think so. I don't think the Heat, if they make the playoffs, I don't think they will go to the finals. Maybe they might, but they might not. They will not. Like, I think they were just extremely lucky last year. Together with good basketball, they played good basketball, but also the luck was just on their side. I don't think that can happen twice. Like to say they will make it all the way to the finals. Yeah. So no, I think playoff Jimmy period is over, and I think Coach Spo is a good coach. He'll turn it around. They'll probably make playoffs, end up probably losing through playing, and probably end up losing to the Celtics again. So it's one of those, either they'll lose to the Celtics or they'll lose to the Heat. One of them. Sorry, to the Sixers. They'll lose to the Sixers. I'm thinking of Niners football is my head, but yeah,
I mean, here's the thing. When we look at the Miami Heat this time last season, they only won 29 games. They're 24 games. I mean, they're not it's not that big. It's not like they won 35 games and they've only won 20. I mean, it's you know what I mean? It's not a huge difference. It's not as big of a difference as I think people want to make it. They had a really hot start to the season where they looked like they were maybe going to be that team because last season they were not that team in the regular season. They finished, I believe, 8th. They were
yeah,
not that team in the regular season last year. They came alive in the playoffs. But the difference is they definitely looked a lot better as a whole, as a team this time last year. Wins, loss, not super big difference, but as an entire team, they had pulled together some bigger wins against some bigger opponents that they have dropped this year. And for me, could they be a team that makes the play-in? 150%. I think they're I don't want to say a play-in lock, but I do not see the Heat dropping below 8th or ninth. I think 8th or ninth is going to be where they comfortably stay fighting the whole year. But I don't think we're going to see another Cinderella. I saw someone in the comments say a Cinderella run because that's what it was. It was like, I mean,
it
it
was,
was
yeah.
not a run beating the but going through who they went through. There we go. Yeah, their Cinderella season they had snatched. I mean, their Cinderella year was cut short, and I don't see them having another one again. But I don't think we saw them having it last year, and they still did. And Jimmy Butler comes alive in the playoffs, and so there is a reality where they have a really, really, really good play-in tournament, and then they're in, and their momentum is there. But I think the only way I can actually like be realistic about them making a playoff push is if they somehow can add on to their team before the deadline or add some depth because it's not that depth is really the problem, but I do think that they could absolutely, now that they've lost some of their vet leadership in the locker room, I feel like they could absolutely add something to that team. And Terry Rozier is probably not enough. I've gathered to for that team. Like they've added him as a piece, but it's not been that
It's
successful
not.
since. So I
Yeah,
do think that there's something to be said for I think they'll survive. That's how I'll say it. I think they'll survive the regular season, and I think they'll have a successful plan. But I think they'll get out in round one.
definitely. 100%. I don't see them making it. They snatched their opportunities so perfect. Well, they didn't win it, but to go to the conference and then all the way to the NBA finals, 100% agree with that.
I mean, it was just like nobody saw that coming when they pulled that off. And I think that I never looked at it as they're going to be back here next year, but like I do think there's something to be said for the Miami Heat and Dame Lillard trade that never happened, because had the Miami Heat acquired Dame Lillard, they would this would be a whole different conversation right now. So I do think there's something to be said for maybe we do see them try to make some moves in the offseason and build around Jimmy Butler and Bam and try to keep that team as together as they can and maybe make another push. But who they have now, that team as they have it now, is not going to get anything done, in my personal opinion. And who knows, maybe they'll have another Cinderella run, uh, absolutely shock everybody, but I definitely don't see that happening. So we will obviously revisit them again, possibly, but not a lot to talk about with them other than the fact that they are losing games right now. So maybe they'll turn it around, and next time we talk, they'll be on a 4 or 5 game win streak. Who knows? But moving
Yeah,
on, we are
maybe,
going
maybe.
right, maybe. Hey, the Detroit's starting to win some games. They're like 6 and like 29 or something now. So they've won a couple games since we brought them up last time. So let's go. Shout out to the Pistons. Shout out to it's rough being a Detroit sports fan right now.
Oh
It's
no, I mean, it was good for a minute. It just, yeah, fairy tale season kind of just,
yeah,
yeah.
got to kick some field goals. But anyways, or just score more points and have better games if you're the Pistons. But either way,
Yeah, or I don't think the field goal was what cost it, but drop passes, they could have absolutely
uh,
caught some good passes, and but we're not talk football here, we don't talk football here, so that's not.
moving on, we've got a couple more things to get to before we end today's show. Our next thing we're going to go over, because we've done this a few times on this show, I don't think we'd have done this season. We've kind of done it off and on throughout our time doing Well Beyond the Arc, going over underrated and overrated teams. So what we are doing today, we're going to be going over one team in each conference that we both think is underrated and overrated. This very well, it could be a completely different list on both sides. I'm kind of excited to see who you have on yours, because my list definitely, if we did this list just 2-3 weeks ago, it would not have been the same for me. Like it's shifting. The NBA is crazy because it's such a long season and so much changes. But as of now, as we record this episode, who would you have as the most underrated team in the Eastern Conference?
This is a tough one. No, I won't say the Hawks because they have Trey Young and Murray, but their record is just absolutely terrible, bizarre. Um, I'm going to go for the Pacers just cause I don't think everyone has just. I think people are realizing, but not everyone has fully accepted that this team is different. Like they are the second best offense in the league, like overall, not just in the East. Second best offense in the league, like both East and West. First, obviously, being Boston. No one is just taking how good they are offensively. I mean, defensively, yeah, they might not be the best, but like if they are pretty much playing, the only way you can win is you outscore us. And there's no way you are outscoring the second best defense in the league except you're the best defense. Sorry, the best offense in the league. So I think the Pacers are just no one saw them coming, but no one is still yet fully accepting that they are coming. They might not make it far in the playoffs, but like they are really putting on a show for us right now. You get what I mean?
Absolutely. No, I agree. Shout out to the Pacers. They've turned things around really quickly, because they've really not, I mean, they've not, I don't want to say turn things around, but they've not had this much success or this much of a spotlight in a minute. And then with the East progressively growing as an offensive conference and everything picking up, they're definitely one of those teams driving that. So shout out to the Pacers. I got to go with the Nets as my most underrated team in the NBA right now. They're currently sitting at 10th in the East. That's not anything pretty, but they've got some extremely key young pieces, and they're coming off of a 147-114 win over the Utah Jazz. Now, are
And
the
Ben
Utah
Simmons is
Jazz
back. Ben Simmons is
Ben,
also
Si-
back too.
Ben Simmons had a game. Shout out to Ben Simmons. I wasn't even going to mention Ben Simmons, but we got to shout him out because he had a game. He almost had a triple double, right?
Yeah, almost. I think he was
He was
two rebounds shy of
he was right
a triple
there.
double.
Because
Yeah.
that's shout out to him because he definitely is a player that has had some games and maybe he'll start being that consistent piece for them that he showed he was in that game. So shout out to that Nets team. I think that they're a team that is really under the radar, and of course they are. Like I said, they're 10th. It's not like they've been going on any big win streaks and they've had some injury problems throughout the season and they haven't had the most complete roster. But despite all of that, they're 10th. They're coming off of a big win and a piece like Ben Simmons that everybody was like hating on and thinking would be the worst piece ever to have might actually be something that could help turn this team around and help keep them a team that's a team to talk about. So I think they're the most underrated team in the East right now. And I actually think, because we were just talking about the Heat and their Cinderella run, give me the Nets having, I know I'm making some crazy claims today. Give me the Nets having a Cinderella run
We
in the
can't do this.
playoffs.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We cannot do this.
Do
I'm
we have to
sorry.
end the show now? Am I
We
saying too many
cannot.
crazy
I'm sorry. I'm
things?
sorry. We need to stop here. Like we're done. We're
Nets
being
Cinderella
cast. We're
run.
done. We're done. We're
Nets
done. We're
Cinderella run.
done.
Give me that right now. Nets Cinderella run. They finished the season. They finished the season 10th.
I need a minute. I need to get myself back. I'm
Win out the
sorry.
playing game. Now, are they gonna here? Let me say this. Cinderella run for the Nets would be second round. Second round, game 7. That's my prediction. Do they win the second round, game 7? I don't know. Second round, game 7. We go from there. How do you feel about that one, David? Good. I can tell you're with me on that one. I'm glad.
No,
You're
I
gonna
don't even see them making the playoffs. I don't see them
fair
making
enough.
the
That's a
playoffs.
fair take. You see them making the play-in.
Maybe. Maybe. It's a maybe.
Okay.
It's a
See, we'll have to
strong maybe.
revisit that take once we get closer. Hey, maybe they finish 6th, 7th. You never know, bro. They're right there. So we'll revisit that one. Moving over to the West, who do you have as your most underrated team for the West?
The West is such a stacked conference, though.
It's hard, bro. It took me so long to pick one for this.
I'm going to low key go with the Pelicans, right? And I'm only going with them because if you remember the finals of the in-season tournament, the Western part of the in-season tournament where the Lakers absolutely just ran through them and they looked absolutely nothing, right? Everyone just kind of bashed them and like no one's really talking about them anymore. But they are currently on a well, actually no, they're on a 3-game losing streak. But before that, they are currently 8th place. And I guess everyone is not just talking about them because of that in-season tournament. No, you hardly hear that name anymore. You hardly hear Zion's name. You hardly hear Bi's name. Alvarado, all these guys. You hardly hear their names anymore. So I think they are really underrated because they will do something. And when they go on their little runs, they will go on their little runs. But when they do go on their little runs, it's not really said enough, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. I think that's true. I think that they've been a team that has kind of been underrated and under the radar for the last ever since they lost Anthony Davis. Honestly, I think they've been kind of stuck in a spot, which, hey, I'm not complaining about that one. We'll take it. But when I'm thinking about underrated, I'm thinking about the Dallas Mavs, and that is not because they're like the Brooklyn Nets sitting at 10th picking up crazy claims about going on a Cinderella run. No, it's not because of that. It's because they are 7th in the West, a stacked conference, and they didn't even make the playoffs last season. They didn't even make the play-in last season. And now they are sitting here and Luka and Tim Hardaway Jr. are combining for 80 plus points. And Kyrie Irving and Luka are combining for a bunch. I mean, this is a squad that can play. This is a squad that I truly think could go on a run. When we're talking about a team that could go on a run in the playoffs in the West, I think it's the Mavs because we have seen a Mavs team with very little help for Luka go on a run before. With help for Luka, with an actual team around Luka, we could be looking at a team that might go all the way. This season, I don't know, but you know what I'm saying? So shout out to the Mavs.
They have more chance than the Nets to go on a
Okay, I agree.
Cinderella
I
run.
agree with you on. I
Like
agree with you
like
on that. I agree
they
with you
can
on that.
100 they just like they can literally best of seven. You 100% take them over. Some teams as long as Kyrie, Luca, all these guys are popping up. So they can't 100% go. Just get like the Lakers, do like the Lakers last season, go to Western Conference Finals, and then meet Denver, and then they'll probably lose. But it will
You
still
never
stay a
know.
nice run. Yeah,
A
that's
lot of
true.
different things could happen, but I do think that Mavs team is a team to watch, and they were not last year. So moving over to the East, this one was a little tricky for me. I mean, both were tricky for me right now because it's really hard to narrow this down. But who is your pick for the most overrated team in the East currently?
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. I really don't know, to be honest, though. I was going to say the Magic, right? But then, really, the Magic? No, I'm going to say the Knicks, just because I know the Knicks is they're a New York team. They will probably disappoint. Like that's just how they are. New York teams disappoint, right? So I'm going to go with the Knicks. Yeah, it's looking all roses and sunny up in East Side New York or wherever they are. Um, but they will disappoint. I just think everyone is overhyping them. Yeah, 7 games isn't bad. Jalen Brunson is playing too good, but can they go all the way? That's New York teams. That's what I have with them. Can they go all the way? Look at all
Usually
New
not.
York teams. Look at all New York teams, from the Jets to the Buffalo Bills precisely. There's the Giants, then the Nets. Like I don't know. They're just yeah. It's a tough one because they all are playing good basketball right now. So it's so hard to like judge it right now.
It is. It's a tough one. I agree with that pick. I think for me, this one was tough. This one was one of the hardest ones, but I had to go with the 76ers, and that is only because of the how they look without James Harden, excuse me. Good lord. Without Joel Embiid.
Ju-
Because they are not the same team without him. Yes, they still have Maxi, they still have some pieces, but without him, they got blown out by Portland. They got beat by Denver. I mean, they are not the same team without Joel Embiid. And so that just begs the question, how far can this team really go if he is out during the playoffs, during whatever moment of the season when they need him? Is that going to affect them? Are we going to see the 76ers pick up a 4 to 5 to 6 game losing streak if he's out for a solid? Like, that is not a good look. So currently I'm going with the 76ers only because of their situation with Joel Embiid. And if you really have to rely on just one guy, I mean, again, Maxi is turning himself into an absolute star player. But currently, I would say Joel Embiid would be that guy. If they're relying on somebody, that would be the guy that they would rely on. And so if he's out and you're losing games, I think that's a pretty overrated team. So that's got to be my pick for the East right now is the 76ers. And no, it was not the Bucks Kings out because I don't think the Bucks are overrated at the moment.
I also thought that too. I kind of thought you were going to say the Bucks, to be
You thought I
honest.
was going to say no.
I
No,
thought you were going to say
putting
the
over a new
Bucks.
leaf. No, it's got to be the
Um,
76ers as of now for me. What about for the West? Moving over to the West, what is your pick for the
um,
West?
the West. Oof. The West. The West is also a stacked conference too. Um, but I'm just going to say this, and just cause I know, and this is not shade on the superstar he is, or the superstar there are in that team. But I just feel like it's too much. Like it's literally too much. And don't get me wrong, their record says they are the best. Blah blah blah. I just feel like it's a little bit over the top. Minnesota Timberwolves. No disrespect to the greatness of Ant and the superstardom he is, but like it's just a little bit teeny over the top considering they haven't necessarily done anything. Like they're like when they get to that conference final, and next season they go again and they're up there, yeah. But like right now, it's just a little bit over the top, if you know what I mean.
I
Yeah.
get that. No, I think that's very true because this is a team that what were they, the 8th seed last year or the 7th seed or They
Yeah,
were
they ended up
not
losing to the Lake to yeah
Nuggets round one.
eight seed. Yeah,
Yeah, so like, yeah, you're here now, but that doesn't mean they're gonna. Yeah, I totally with you. I'm gonna go with the Sacramento Kings. I again, here's the thing that they are a really, really solid team. They're fifth in the West right now, but this is a team that I believe, if I'm correct, finished third or fourth in the West last year.
third.
Are they completely out? Exactly. That's the whole. I mean, that for me, it's like, could they still finish third? It's not the end of the season, but they don't quite look like the same team they did last year. And even that same team last year didn't make it very far in the playoffs. So for me, it's like currently I've got to give it to the Sacramento Kings, if, in my personal opinion, as being the most overrated team in the West. That will change. We will revisit this segment again in a couple of, probably not a couple of weeks, but in a little while, because it will be
Well,
something
like
to
maybe
revisit again.
post All Star break, you know.
Oh, so that's the perfect. Yeah, that'd be the perfect time to do it. We might revisit and see where we're at. But now it is time for our top of the hour five, our final segment of the day. And we have been talking a lot of MVP on this show this season. So our topic today is the top five biggest MVP snubs in NBA history. So this is any regular season MVP award that we think should have gone to someone else, but it was awarded. And I don't know about you, bro, but some of these on my list, I'm like, how did they make this mistake? So, starting off on a good note with number five, who is your number five for biggest regular season MVP snub?
Um, I'm going to go Kobe over Chris Paul and LeBron. Um, I feel like it should be LeBron 07 08. Bryant had like pretty much, you know, he had a good season, 28.3 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, you know, all that good stuff. But LeBron had 30, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Pretty much, yeah, I don't know. Chris Paul almost also pretty much the same thing. 21 points, 4 rebounds, almost 12 assists a game. And they gave it to Kobe. Yeah, I can't. That has been my number five. Like it's one of those where you're like, really? I mean, God rest his soul, Kobe. Kobe is exceptional, but that season should have. Yeah,
No, that's a good pick. That I mean that was now Kobe has also had his fair share of being snubbed when he should have been the one to win it. But yeah, that was one. That's a good pick. My number five has to be the 2010-11 when LeBron lost to D Rose. Please don't come for my neck in the comments or anywhere because I love D Rose. I'm so glad he has an MVP award. But LeBron just should have won it in the 2010-11 season, in my opinion. He was averaging 26.7 points per game, 27.5 rebounds, and or 27, 7.5 rebounds and 7 assists. That 26.7 was dominant. And also, this was just a season where LeBron was all in and just looked incredible. So, this was peak LeBron, which that's been LeBron pretty much every season his whole career. But that season, 2010-11, I just think with that 26.7 and those sevens and assists and rebounds, I think he should have won it over D Rose. So, that's my pick for number five. But no disrespect to D Rose because that was still, he was definitely second, in my personal opinion, for that award that year. Coming in at number four, who do you have sitting there, bro?
I have LeBron. Sorry, I have D Rose over LeBron. And probably some might also say Dwight because Dwight might have
Dwight,
also
yeah.
deserved it too at that time. You have said it. No disrespect to D Rose, but like LeBron was just well, what year? Sorry, let me see. What year was that? The 10, 11. I can't remember who won in that year. Who won the chip that year? Was that Miami won it that year? Right? Was it?
No, that was when Dallas won it, I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah, because it was LeBron's yeah, I think that was when Dallas won it LeBron's first year there.
Oh, okay. I think that's LeBron's first. But anyways, we all know that LeBron's dominance was pretty much when he was in Miami. Um, that has to be my number four, and yeah.
No, that's a good pick. Sitting at my number four is when Michael Jordan lost to Karl Malone in the 1996-97 season. Now, Karl Malone, again, this is not a player where it's like, how did he win? I can't believe that. Karl Malone had a great season. He had a pretty respectable, but Michael Jordan, 29 4.6 points per game, 5.9 assists and 4.3 or 5.9 rebounds and 4.3 assists. He was doing it all, but the scoring was really where it was at. And also on the defensive side, he was doing it all. So for me, it should have been Jordan. Karl Malone is a great player, and he definitely is a player that deserves to have at least one MVP award. But I just think that Michael Jordan was doing it all this season. And the scoring for me is that was the biggest difference for me, was his scoring. He was really doing it all when it came to that. So has to be my number 4. Sitting at your number 3, who do you got there, bro?
That is my number 3.
Let's go.
Yeah. Karl Malone over Jordan, and I'm trying to, because it's 96. I think this was pretty much when Jordan came out of retirement. If I remember watching The Last Dance correctly, this was after this was the season he came out of retirement. Also, 2 years after one of them though. And yeah, you said the numbers pretty much speak for themselves. If not for Jordan, you have some players that should have been winning a chip. Um, Karl Malone being one of them also. So maybe this was, Karma trying to even the scores, and give Karl Malone something over Jordan. Who knows? But it's one of those things where Jordan was still so dominant that he should have. I mean, I guess it's one of those things where, like, the voters were just really tired of voting for the same person over and over and over again. More like kind of like what they are doing to, like, LeBron, and what maybe they did to Jokic, and yeah, and all those things like that. But yeah, that's definitely my number 3.
I mean, again, it's a good pick. I definitely just think that was. I mean, Jordan had so many years where you can be like, that was Jordan's year, but that was just another. Jordan just is that dude. He had so many seasons like that. Sitting at my number 3 is when Shaq lost to Allen Iverson in the 2000 to 2001 season. Again, bro, like, I love Allen Iverson. I'm so glad he has an MVP. But in my personal opinion, Shaq had another one of his greats. I mean, Shaq has had so many dominant seasons, but Shaq, this is just another example of that, because Shaq had 28.7 points per game, 12.7 rebounds per game, and 2.8 blocks per game. He was doing it all, and the Lakers looked great because of that. With that, it was one of their most successful seasons they've ever had, and that was highly led by Shaq. So, in my personal opinion, shout out to Allen Iverson. Glad he has one, but it should have been Shaq. Getting into the top 2, bro. This is where it gets real, man. Who is your number 2 for biggest MVP snubs of all time?
Steve Nash over Kobe. 0506. I mean, the disparate. I mean, Steve Nash 18.8 points a game, 10.5 assists, 44% from the three. And then you had Kobe scoring 35.4 points a game, 5.3 rebounds, 4.5 assists. I mean, no one expected the Lakers to be where they were that season. Like, Shaq had just left for Miami, and no one really expected. And I think he also, if I remember correctly, he also did the same thing to Shaq too. Well, I don't say he did the same thing, but like, they also gave him the MVP to Shaq when Shaq was meant to win. I think either before or after this particular year. So I think that's my number 2. Steve Nash just absolutely getting the best of Kobe. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, we got the same number 2, bro. I'm not even going to waste my breath because you just took the words right. I mean, it's Kobe Bryant, 35. I mean, Kobe Bryant, this was one season where he should have won it. There is no question about it. This was Kobe's year, and he should have won it. Shout out to Steve Nash, but the fact that Steve Nash has robbed several players of MVP awards, come on now. I mean, I would definitely say he deserves the other one more than this one. I would say this one over Kobe. Kobe should have won this one without a doubt. So, number 1, all time, biggest MVP snub. Who do you got, bro?
I have. Oh, there are a lot to pick from, to be honest. Um, I'm going to go Bill Russell over Will Chamberlain, and yeah, and some might also say Oscar Robertson. 1961-62 season. I think that was pretty much when the new voting system kind of kicked in. Um, we all know Will Chamberlain was dropping 50 a game, literally dropping 50 a game about like 10 25.7 rebounds a game, pretty much 2.4 assists more or less, absolutely dominating the paint. So you'd expect that should have won the MVP, scoring 25. I don't know how that did not win the MVP that season. I wish I was alive to know how the voting went, but like
For real,
that
no.
was yeah. It's I can't, I'm not going to say too much about it. Let's just leave it
50
there.
points a game is just disgusting, bro. That is absolutely the fact that the only person to ever average that many points a game did not win the MVP. And plus the rebound. I mean, it's insane. But shout out to Bill Russell. I mean, that dude champion. Absolute. I mean, when we're talking about the best winner in NBA history, it's him.
Yeah,
So
I well 11 rings, 11,
yes, sir.
11
11.
rings. Yes, sir.
Insane. No one's ever going to even touch that. So shout out to Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain. RIP to both. So, anyways, thank you guys so much. This has been great. Those we've named some gentlemen that definitely got robbed, but again, everybody that won it still, still deserved it. It's so hard to pick. Sometimes it's just like there's so many good players in that top three, 4, 5. It's hard to pick, but either way, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, we have enjoyed talking NBA basketball with you guys for about an hour, but this is not the only place where you can find me and David. David, where can our viewers find you?
Always, as always, you can always find me, Mind of the Football Fans. We're back probably next week. We're not sure yet, but we'll be back. Catch us wherever I get your podcast on Spotify, YouTube, even TikTok. You find us on TikTok. We're there to all things football, or as the Americans say, it's soccer. So that's where you find me.
Make sure to check that out. And you can find me on YouTube or Spotify at the Connor and Heffernan Show. We should be doing a new show this week or next. We're gonna do a little pre-Super Bowl show. So make sure to tune into the Connor and Heffernan Show this week or next on YouTube and Spotify.
Let's go Niners. Niners.
Let's go, please, Niners. Yes, let's go Niners. I'm a Niners fan too today, or until the Super Bowl. So I'm with you on that one, bro. But we will talk to you guys soon, and thank you guys so much as always for tuning in. Have a great week.
Yes, sir.